What's up, guys? All right, I'm back. I took a few months off. I've been really busy. I'm working two jobs, about 12, 16-hour days, but that's not an excuse. So I need to document what I'm trying to do, which is another show. So for things on the list, I want to show you my Costco run that I recently just did, show you a little bit of my current nutrition, today's training, and my Dexa Scan results, aka body fat analysis. Dexa Scan is also used for osteoporosis and bone mineral density to check. So that was depressing, but I'll go over that in a minute. Let me show you what I got at the store. Dun 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 dun! Alright, let's see. Don't judge my shitty refrigerator. So I recently went to Costco and I got a shit ton of greens, tomatoes, nasty ass beets, which I blend, all egg whites. That's some fresh organic chard. I got my ground beef and my chicken. Lovely asparagus. I eat that all the time when I'm in prep. Leftovers is all frozen stuff, so I got my salmon. I was excited, I finally got some shrimp. Really needed that. Another thing of veggie burgers. Have not had these in probably a month or two. It's been a while since I've had them. Leftover chicken and frozen beef again. Some blackberries, and what is that? Oh. Half-baked ice cream. Shh, don't tell anyone what. That was last night's cheat meal. These little mini things, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Mini Nyan, whatever. These are freaking good. Though I can't have this much longer because the closer I get to a show, the more I gotta cut out and more basic I gotta be. So basically you get used to eating the same shit all the time. But I like to eat these either in the morning or post-workout because it's only 21 grams of carbs, which is not too bad. My favorite treat is, oh my god, dates are amazing. They look so weird. But I'll save this also for post-workout. Or if I need a pre-workout, Sugar Rush, to try to get started, get some more energy. That is a great source to go to. And my avocados, oh my gosh, cannot go without avocados. They're so damn good. And the fats keep me fuller longer. And gives you, taste and variety. I'm going to make some black beans tonight for tomorrow's week prep. So maybe like make a little salsa, like black beans, avocados, onions, green onions, things like that. I think that's all I got pretty much this time around. So basically just a lot of protein, variations for, natural sugars from fruit, frozen fruit, a little bit of bread. This is the only kind of bread that we've been buying, even though it is made from buttermilk. So as I was saying, oh, that looks horrible. Don't look at that. Oh, I still got a lot of kale chips too. So, not kale chips, seaweed chips, as to help with not having as much bread. As I was saying, typically 2 to 3 different types of carbohydrates I will consume in a day if I'm good. Now, when I'm cheating, usually I'll just throw all that away and I'll just eat, 4 to 5 different things of carbohydrates, whether that's having a burger with some bread, extra rice, extra potatoes, whatever I have that's on hand. Sometimes I have breakfast potatoes in the morning. I typically try to save my high carb days for really hard intensity training, as far as like doing legs, really heavy legs, or circuit training the next day. That way my glycogen is really full, my muscles are ready to go, and I'm able just to bust that out with all the energy I have. But as this time gets closer, all those is going to cut out. So basically it's going to become really basic. I remember right before nationals, I was eating like whitefish and fucking plain oatmeal. And plain oatmeal was basically like my carb source right before a workout. And I think that's how close it came down to. When I'm like down to the wire and I really got to cut, I was just mostly eating a lot of whitefish, and my only carb source at that time was just oats. I chose oats because I didn't really get really bloated as far as like having potatoes or other rice and grains. Basically just the oatmeal, and I would save that, I think, pretty much before I work out, and that was my only carb source because I was in keto for a while. I think about 4 or 6 weeks of keto before I carb loaded up to right before the show. So I'm gonna do a similar way, kind of what I did for nationals, except yes, I'm gonna have to critique a few things. I don't have as much to cut, but according to the Dexa Scan, I do. So kind of confusing. Let's go over that. All right. So as I was saying, if you guys followed my YouTube channel when I did nationals prep, I had to cut 50 pounds. Okay. Right after that, I was doing the strongman. Sorry, before that, I was doing the strongman event, and that's why I got so heavy. I was about 180, super strong, competed at a strongman event, qualified for nationals. But before that, I already had a goal that year to go to bodybuilding nationals because I qualified for that. And I did not do a Dexa scan as far as my body fat analysis beginning of that national show prep, but we did do caliber testing. So there is a big difference, but apparently that doing a Dexa scan is actually, I guess, higher. I don't know why, but it always measures a higher percentage of body fat. So as lean as I got for nationals, which was about 8% body fat. That's really low for a female, and it's fucking hard. I don't care who you are, that shit is hard. But in order to be competitive in that sport, you have to be super lean. And for me, naturally, like, this is my natural physique. Like, I get a little chubby, get a little thick, but I mean, that's me in my off season, and I cannot maintain that at 8% body fat. And no woman should really, but sometimes it depends on their genetics and their genes that they're able to do that. So anyways, back to the Dexa scan results. My very first Dexa scan was in 2015. This was long before nationals, and I think it was right after doing a show in Tahoe, California, that I did. I think it was about 6 weeks after, because I was going to try to compete in the Lou Ferrigno show that year, but I wanted to see where I was at. So at that time, I was 21% body fat. And now it says that, what does it say? It says like I'm 30% body fat. Now that's a lot. 30% body fat to start off, like that's shitty. That's so high. And trying to compare this with the caliber testing as far as I did for the bodybuilding nationals, I think I started off like 25, 26%. And I know that doesn't seem like a big jump, but I've never heard of myself ever getting to 30% body fat. Like, I don't ever remember being that heavy. Because the only time I remember being super heavy was during the strongman competition that I did. And that was the heaviest I ever weighed, was 180. Right now I weigh about 175. I can get to 179, 180. That's like, you know, that time of the month type of stuff. It fluctuates, and women's weight fluctuates a lot, especially during that time of the month. Not that weight measures everything, but so I was like, okay, if I'm 30% body fat, how do I have so much more definition now compared to my last prep? I'll link a description, or I'll link the old video of when I first started off, and you guys can compare and see. Like, you'll see a difference. Like, I just looked, you know, soft and a little chubby and thick, but now with my training and everything, like, I see a lot more definition than I've ever had before, right before starting a show, because normally, well, I'm just fluffy and way bigger. So if I'm 30% body fat, but yet my upper body is showing a lot more definition this early in the game before a show, I thought I was doing great. That means I'm doing really good. That means I'm like on point, and it shouldn't be as hard of a cut this time as opposed to starting off like I did for nationals. So I went back and I tried to track, like, okay, how many pounds of muscle do I have in my legs? Because this is where I carry most of my weight. Upper body leans out faster, the lower body takes its time. So my legs, I have lean mass of 41 pounds and the fat mass is 23 pounds. So in my eyes, okay, that's good. So as long as I have more mass than fat, that's a good thing. That's a good sign. The total mass is 66 pounds. So basically my whole lower body is about 66 pounds. What else? The andronoid fat, that is the fat around the abdominal area and the trunk, basically the upper body. It said it was only 3.5 pounds of fat and 8 pounds of muscle, so that's good. Total mass is 12 pounds. The gynoid fat, which is the hips, the butts, and the butts, the butt and the thighs, 13 pounds of fat, 33 pounds total, and 18 pounds of that is lean. So, okay, That's good. Still lean, more lean than fat. What else? The trunk. So basically, from the head to the waist, right here, right? This is your trunk. 22 pounds of fat, and 56% of that, 56 pounds of that is, that's right, lean muscle. Arms says 5 pounds of fat. Okay, I can see that. That's a little bit of muscle shaking, by the way. But 16 pounds of that is lean. Like, look at that. That's lean. Yeah. But basically, this fucking thing. So here's a chart. It kind of like discusses and shows you every little diagram and what it means and whatnot. But look at this. This is what's depressing about BMI always, especially for people who lift. You see that? I don't know if you see that. Pretty light. It says where that line is, right there, that I'm almost obese for my height. So my BMI is 29.8. Basically, goddamn 30, BMI of 30, which is pretty high. But yeah, I hate BMI because I feel like you can't go by BMI because it doesn't encounter like the amount of muscle I have. Like, yes, I am heavy for my height, but muscle weighs more than fat. It always has, and it always will. And so, let's see. I compared it from 2017 to 2015 when I first did that. I had 51 pounds. I have 51 pounds of fat right now. It says total. That's a lot. And only 34 pounds of fat back in 2015. So there's a 17 pounds difference. But I also have way more muscle mass than when I ever did a Dexa scan. So even though this goddamn sheet says that I'm fat and obese, basically, I can't really go by that. Like, and I know this is science. And I know this really is a great way to test your body fat. But I know for a fact that I have never ever been this lean in my upper body, and I have some little abs showing. I know it doesn't look like right now because I'm sitting, but I do have in the mornings when I first wake up. That's the best time to check your physique, is when you don't have any water, no food in you. You can check your physique, full force, because you're not, bloated or anything. I do have ab definition, and my chest is coming in, the arms are coming in, and the shoulder. Like, I still have, if I twist a certain way, I can still see my shoulder striations and certain lighting, of course, and my triceps are bigger. So that is better validation for me to go by than a test. I'm going to try to retest probably in July, give it about 3 months time, and see if there is a big difference. But it's just a good way to see it, because there are huge differences in body fat testing as far as caliber testing, Dexa Scan testing, and I guess the most scientific one would be the underwater weighing testing. I've never done that one. That'd probably be a good one to look into eventually. But right now I just did the Dexa scan, and so I'm gonna show you some pictures. I'll show you some pictures. You guys decide, and you tell me which one looks better. Which one do you think that has the more physique definition, muscle mass, compared to when I first started my prep right before nationals, early of 2016 in January, compared to now, before I start this next prep for, my summer competitions. So I'll put some comparisons. You guys can decide and let me know in the link in the box. You can, leave a comment, whatever you want to say. But it's just mind-boggling. Like, people get so crazy about the scale number, but a scale is just measuring your total body weight. It's just mass. It's not really defining like how much muscle mass you have, how much body fat do you really have. A Dexa scan breaks that down, but it also says that I'm really heavy. So I don't know, but okay. Well, if I am 30% fat, body fat, I guess I'll take that, because I know that I look better, probably because I do have more muscle mass than ever before, coming off of off season, now starting this prep. So if I'm 30% body fat, oh well, I guess I'll just take it and then do what I have to do to cut down again. The hardest part is definitely the lower body, for sure. That takes the longest time. It's the hardest. It's such a bitch. Like, when you got a booty and you got to tone that booty down to like the bodybuilding standards, it's hard. It's very hard. But it's not impossible. It just takes a lot of goddamn work. Just like people always want a six-pack abs, and if your physique is genetically not gifted in that area, you have to work very, very hard, and you have to be so strict with everything. A lot of people think, oh, just do a lot of sit-ups, but no, you have to eat right for a long period of time, and you'll have to manipulate your nutrition. You won't be able to eat the same thing all the time, or you're not going to get results because your body's not getting a new stimulus to change the physique. Does that make sense? So I'll put some comparison photos, and I'll just keep grinding. Other than that, I had a great workout today. I definitely did a lot of booty work today. So like every prep, that's my most focused area, is working on my whole lower body, basically my legs, my glutes, my hamstrings, especially the back, because the butt and the hamstrings, that's a lot of fat right there that needs to be definitely toned up. Now, I don't take it for granted. I really like my off-season physique. I don't complain. I don't think I look as horrible as I did. As horrible? That sounds horrible. I don't look as bad as I did when I first started my prep for nationals. So even though, yes, I do gain the weight a little bit back and I do get fluffier, but this is the healthiest off-season for sure that I've ever done yet, because I remember I wouldn't even do the cardio. Like, I didn't even eat vegetables. I basically would just throw my whole nutrition out and ate whatever the fuck I wanted to eat because I can. And I definitely got an appetite, so I can definitely eat. So know that when I diet, it's a huge restriction from what I would normally eat, because I can out-eat my boyfriend. Even though that guy is super buff, that guy cannot eat as much as I can. Maybe on some days, when he watches this, he'll be like, that's not true, babe. I'll eat more. But don't believe him. But basically, I can out-eat a lot of people in general. So know that when I start prep, it's definitely not easy, and it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of restricting. But, you know, I chose this path, and this is what I want to do. So not going to complain. Just got to get my head into it and, you know, just grind it out and do the best I can. The ultimate goal is always to beat my older physique or my older package that I did previously. And, you know, eventually maybe earn that pro card one of these years or soon. Who knows? You never know when you compete at a show. So, all right, I'll show you what I did for today's workout. And I call them a girly workout. Did a lot of girly stuff. Which is weird. You want to know something crazy? When I do the girly workouts, say like hip thrusters, lightweight, cable kickbacks, that shit is hard. But I can deadlift like 315 like it's no problem. But when I got to do the little baby weights and like isolation movements, oh my God, that's a whole different type of training. So I feel like such a baby. I'm like, this hurts. This is hard. So fucking funny. Coming from a person that can actually like deadlift and squat super heavy, right? Oh, it just goes to show different training techniques, different training styles are different, period. Like, someone can power lift, but they won't be able to do bodybuilding routines. It's just that simple, because they're not endurance trained like that. And vice versa. People who have done bodybuilding routines trying to go to do powerlifting routines, that takes some time to get into because you're not used to lifting that heavy at all. You're just not. That's all I got to say about that. So I was a little depressed, but I'm not going to let that define me, because I just know. I know for a fact that I look way better right now compared to my previous off seasons before. So let's get to it. I'll show you my workout.
Give me reasons to doubt, try to keep me down, but I'll put the flame out, you can't get to me. Throw your sticks and your stones, go break all of my bones, you won't ache my soul, you can't get to me. And there is no